Today we're talking to John Woods, co-founder of Nighthawk Cinema and former co-owner of Real Life Video, which both started right here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. One of the things I loved about Real Life Video, it had the same vibe that the record...
Like the barbershop, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So how do you go from, you know, this hardcore band to opening up this video store in Williamsburg?
It was Joe Martin, who was the bass player in Hell No. We both had video collections and figured it was something we could do. Williamsburg was very inexpensive. I mean, it didn't seem that way at the time, but it was doable. Bedford Avenue, people used to call it Avenue E because everybody was getting pushed further and further east. And then just walked down Bedford and saw a phone number, and then called it. And then met the landlord there who owned Deli Mart on the corner of the town. We went and looked at the space, and then went to Teddy's and had a beer and decided that we're going to give it a shot. I think we opened the store with 800 movies, something like that. Our own collections and the stuff that I got from Europe. So it seemed like we had this great collection, and it wasn't that many movies, but just stuff that I knew would be popular that you couldn't get in the States at the time. The era we found a window was the post-Blockbuster. They were like putting all the indie video stores out of business. All these indie video stores that would liquidate, and we just go and just get used videos and stuff that we knew would. So it was great. We'd buy all this stuff and just take it right to the store.
Philips bring you pictures from a silver disc. Highest quality pictures and sound on laser vision. The disc is read by a laser. Nothing touches it. Even constant use won't affect the quality.
The perception became at the time was like, it was about the delivery system and not the movie. Blu-ray and HD DVD, and then, you got to have a high-speed computer to stream stuff, and before it was even streaming. But that's what people were talking about back then was resolution and, watching stuff on computers and everything. The thing is, like, the store was like pretty rough, but my whole thing was, no, we have look at the movies, and people started to kind of, that aesthetic was not, the handmade thing. I remember somebody came in one night towards the end, was like, "Oh, this store is so cute." It's like, well, that's how that one went. In 2007, I kind of knew, I saw the writing on the wall, and then I had wanted to do, a theater. But if I had done it myself, it would have been more like the video store, more like what Spectacle is. That's kind of the vision that I had. It's like a Spectacle we'll get a cooler and have some cans of beer in it,
Take this card.
This card will get me in for life.
That card will get you into a free screening at Galapagos. 8 p.m. next Tuesday, we're showing everything you always wanted to know about sex, but we're afraid to ask. Plus short films. You should go there because the movie is free. There's free popcorn. The booze costs money, and
There's a lot I'm afraid to ask about sex. Can I ask you now?
No, but the movie will answer all of your questions.
I wasn't thinking that I was going to do it. I was like, well, this guy seems nice. I'll share all the information I have. I had 2 years worth of plans and concepts, basically like the whole experience that I had in mind for what became Nighthawk. He had his own ideas, so we met, and I kind of gave him everything. And he seemed like a nice guy, and he lived in Eastern Parkway back then. It's like, oh, I'll be friends with this guy, and it was Matthew Vera, who wound up doing Nighthawk with. So then he came back to town in January. He goes, hey, let's get a drink. So we met at Double Windsor, and I didn't think it was, I just thought we were meeting for drinks. So then we're getting pretty deep into the drink. He goes, hey, so should we do this? I was like, yeah, I'll have another one. What do you want? So then I came home and told my wife, I was like, I think this guy still wants to do it. And she was like, yeah, sure. I don't think so. But then, he had the same idea for it that I did, and he had his own ideas, and he had the resources to do everything.
And now you do the programming there, right?
Yeah.
And the last program you did before the lockdown was the Rolling Stones' Cocksucker Blues.
that never wind up happening, you know. The last thing we wound up doing was, you know, I've had that booked, I think 4 different times, and it's like the first time I had it booked, it's only available on digibeta, and it took me about 10 years of emailing Robert Franks and text where all his stuff is once a year, and they'd be like, nope, sorry, there's no. For those of you who don't know, the deal with that movie is you can only show it like every so often, and like no, there's no New York screenings allowed this year. So it was, I have the email thread. I have a ton of email threads going back, you know, various years with different people. It takes sometimes 8-10 years or you know, to get, you know, Penelope Spheris with Decline of Western Civilization, that took years.
And that's what I was getting at. It's like, how long do these bookings take? It's not like
sometimes no. I mean, especially with that stuff, if it's worth it. But I never, you know. So anyway, with that, finally it was the end of 2018, and she's like, all right, you know, you're very persistent. Here's the booking, you know, and it's only on digibeta, the format to screen it from. So we had the thing booked, and then we had to push it back, and then we had to push back again because we weren't ready technically out here in Prospect Park. And then Robert Frank passes away, and there's, you know, moratorium on all bookings. So we had it finally booked March of this year, and then this happens.
Where do you think the state of cinema now with this lockdown? Where do you think it's going? What's the?
I mean, I think cinemas are going to come roaring back. Vaccine first, and then, you know, I think they will come back.
And what do you think of? Because of your art film background, and I mean, you made a documentary yourself, New Breed, which was amazing.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have a place to play anymore. It seems to be blockbuster superhero movies in a theater.
Well, you know,
and indie movies maybe on streaming.
One thing at Nighthawk, which I saw develop, and we were definitely a part of it, was, you know, the movie I made, the music documentary, or just very independent documentary, but especially music. There's a whole network of cinemas, you know, you can just take the movie and tour with it, you know. Happened a lot. You know, the Jenny Matz, who did the Rye Coalition documentary, Bill Badgley, who did, you know, he did the Carp documentary, then he did, you know, the you know, stuff after that. You can just make the movie. Bob, who did the Melvins documentary, and we did it with the New Breed. We got shows with just through the network of independent cinemas, so you don't even have to do the festival thing anymore, and you can kind of, you know, take the movie, make it yourself, and then kind of tour with it like it's a band.